groups of people and prepared to work for free for the experience and the exposure. Do good business because people always remember a bad apple, and don't give up. Be prepared to sacrifice and compromise. I mean, I spent a massive chunk of my student loan on my equipment, which resulted in me having to live off potatoes for about a year. And since that, the jacket potato has actually been one of my favourite meals. That potato stop being syndrome. That's a positive, I guess. It's kind of it. Gathering momentum is always the hardest bit. So, I mean, the ball is just kind of, I'd say, got rolling now. But I mean, I've had a tough 3 months. I've been so poor. But I'm starting to get money, which is great. And always be prepared to learn. You never stop learning when you graduate. I mean, I don't think you stop learning until they die. I taught myself to make all these films. I wasn't trained in it, and I just wanted to do it. And this is obviously quite an obvious one, but buy a watch. I know it's a piece of potentially redundant technology because everyone's got phones, but when you've got constantly time in your eye line, you can always check the time. You can work to lists and to goals and aims, which is another great thing to do. You need to delegate your time and be more productive. And also, to have some time off. Don't forget about your friends and family, because at the end of the day, they're the people that are always going to support you, and you should support them back. So, have some time off with them when you can. Visit my website, thank you, and I'm really looking forward to mentoring some of you.
Thank you, Joe, that's absolutely amazing. I'd like to bring up Dr. Siobhan Lynch now, and I read her bio with interest because she's somewhat of a mindfulness guru, and I started practicing mindfulness 3 years ago when I realised that medicine was stressing me out. So I know that she's developed a scheme for medical students in mindfulness, so I'm very excited to hear what she has to say.
Okay guys, well thank you very much for having me here. I'm just so honoured to be here, and I'm amazed by the calibre of the people speaking. I feel like I should just be staying in the audience. So this session is a bit of a winding presentation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, my work, and also the many people who sort of inspired me and led me on. Okay, so this is basically the cornerstone of what my work is about. I'm a psychologist. My PhD was in mindfulness meditation and student health and well-being, sort of with the interface of learning and teaching. I don't need to tell you guys that being a student is stressful. Depending on your own life experience, you may or may not know that there are huge numbers of students who are experiencing really serious levels of stress, depression, anxiety, and the worst thing is many people don't actually seek help. And part of the reason they don't seek help is this sort of sense of stigma and that worry, oh, is it going to be on my transcript when I apply for a job? They're going to know, I'm going to be ticked off, it's no good. The reason I focus on this work is A, because it's interesting academically, but B, because I actually care about it. And I think, echoing what just about everyone else has said so far, when you're picking an area to work in, I think you need to be a little bit brave and look beyond what your teachers and your parents might expect of you, and really try and touch in with yourself about what's important to you. When I did my PhD, there were many nights when it would be sort of 3 a.m. and I would just, oh God, And at those sort of points, if you don't believe in what you're doing, even if you make it through, you'll be dead inside, right? So, yeah. So, maybe a wee show of hands. Who has heard of mindfulness? Yay, it's a lot of people. Brilliant. Okay, so for those of you who aren't sure, mindfulness itself comes from Buddhism, so it's about 2,500 years old, if you like. But it's been sort of relaunched in the West from the 1970s as a psychological construct. So it includes a few sort of interlinking facets. So one is present moment attention. More than that, it's about sort go of whatever pops up and return your attention to where you want it to be. So those two things work together really powerfully. And what we've seen is over the last 30, 35 years now, it's actually mindfulness-based stress reduction.